another year, another release. So some years ago we decided that we want to try to make one release every year.
That's the trick.
That's not good. And the original plan was to have the release done by now. But like often, especially in the week where the PharoDays are, it's a bit difficult, and so we decided to postpone a bit more. But it will happen next week, but then lots of people on holiday, maybe the week after. And what will it be? So it's again 12 months, like a bit more even because we are a bit delayed. And we managed this year to close around 1,400 issues on the issue tracker within. Was it not? Sorry. Yeah. Maybe it. Test. Test, yes. Cool. So it's again 12 months, and together with getting the stuff started at the beginning, so moving from the finishing Pharo 5 and then starting Pharo 6, and at the end having a bit of a cool down phase where we cannot add everything but only show-stopping issues or really trivial stuff. This is actually not that much time, the 12 months, but nevertheless we managed 1,400 closed issues. And how this is done is that we always integrate multiple issues with one so-called integration, so it's around 3 per integration. And it means that if you look at that, it means we did around 1 update per day around in this period. Around 3 fixes from the issue tracker per day. What a fix is always very different, so it can be from a small typo to an integration of some big change for the GT tools, but it gives a bit of an impression of how much work went into it. And we had around 86 people contributing to the Pharo image itself, and we have listed them here. So this is only people that contributed to the image level of things, so this is not people helping on documentation, website, virtual machine, things like that, but purely from the Pharo image perspective. The biggest news this time is Pharo's the 64-bit version of Pharo, which actually involved a lot of steps, and we will have a talk about this directly after this. So it was like things like we had to integrate the Spur garbage collector version of the virtual machine, and the FFI work had to be done, lots of bindings had to be rewritten, lots of image level changes to be integrated, but it's coming along. So now what we will get out of it is we will have the possibility of creating really large images with a 64-bit address space, and for Linux we don't need to have the dedicated 32-bit packages installed anymore, which makes it much more fitting in the modern Linux distributions. How it actually works is that it's a dedicated 64-bit VM and a dedicated image, which means that you need to convert an existing 32-bit image to a 64-bit image if you want to use it on 64-bit. But considering that people use continuous integration setups these days, this should be not that disruptive. It's not yet finished, and we will hear about that more in the next talk. The Windows VM is not yet fully done, and Git integration is not yet working on 64-bit. The other big change that we did, or big improvement, is related to how source code is managed. So if you ever had a crash of your system, then you know that the source code is actually not saved inside the image, but on disk independently. And that means if your system crashes, you have a nice desynchronization of the code that you actually implemented and the one that the system thinks it knows from the last save. And there is a solution for this in the current system that it actually has one .changes file which is used for both storing the source code and logging new changes. It's very efficient and kind of beautiful solution, but very low level, and today we need to do better. And for that we have Epicea, which is a code management tool which is completely independent of the source code model, and it actually models things much more high level. So we can actually model aggregate changes, model refactoring, so that we know that these 50 changes are actually the result of one refactoring. We model IDE events, expression evaluation, and things like that. In addition, it has a very nice user interface with filters and nice tree representation. So it's actually quite nice to use. But like everything that is new, it's not yet there to replace the original mechanism, but right now it's actually in addition. So that means that the old .changes mechanism is still there. So in cases where Epicea is not yet a replacement because of bugs or because of things not yet there, you can always fall back to the old mechanism. But we plan in the future to actually, now that we have a mechanism independently of storing the source code, that we can actually do very nice things on the source code level for the future. And now Pavel takes over with Git.
Okay, so next great feature of Pharo 6 is Git integration, Git support. Of course, even before developers were able to use this advanced version control system to manage their programs, but using the external tools like Git Foundry. But now Git support is integrated in Pharo. What it means? This support has two parts. First one is integration of a libgit tool directly in the virtual machine. Pharo 6 virtual machine is provided directly with this library, and the image contains binding for this. So if you will want to do things with Git repositories like cloning or like committing changes and so on, you will not need any external tool. You will be able to use only Pharo itself, and you will not need even Git itself. And the next part of this support of Git is Iceberg. Iceberg is a Git repositories management tool, and Esteban will have a talk about it this afternoon. So in shortcut, this tool has a very nice UI, and it's only a preview for Pharo 6. That means that it's preloaded in the image, but it's not completely enabled. You will not have meta-channel support enabled. If you want it, you need to change it in settings. But for Pharo 7, it will be a default application, and all Pharo 7 development will be managed by this tool. So it was done with this goal to manage development of Pharo. That means that it already supports all everyday tasks you want, like cloning of Git repositories, switching branches, committing, and so on. But on the other hand, if you will want some more advanced tasks like rebasing, then you will need to use directly Git on that repositories. And it also has a support of GitHub pull requests, so you will be able to commit your pull requests directly from Pharo without touching of GitHub web page. You should know that it supports or uses metadata-less file tree format, so if you right now use the file tree for your sources, it will not change, but you will lose some metadata of methods if you use them. All information about iceberg, including documentation, can be found on this GitHub repository. Next big important change was happened on the level of managing of Pharo VM. Pharo started as fork of Squeak, and it used for a long time Squeak VM with some changes, and this will not change. In contrary, we started with closer collaborations with other forks of Squeak and Squeak itself. So now Pharo VM joined to Open Smalltalk initiative, and it uses commonly managed Pharo VM, commonly managed VM with Pharo, Squeak, Quiz, and Newspeak, and it's all managed in one repository. Here you see the URL of it, and it's managed by Git. So we await more closer collaboration and common improvements, and it's very nice. Next big feature of Pharo 6 is ability to be bootstrapped. Bootstrapping is a process when you recreate your images from some statical source code, some definition of the image. And when this was done for Pharo Smalltalk 84, it was in time when Rocky 1 was new in cinemas, about 40 years ago. In the end, we now still have some objects that survived from that time in our Pharo image, like probably nil, true, false, and so on. Now we will be able to bootstrap the image again, and it's alternative to snapshotting. That means that it's a process how to build images, but if you will want to save images and recover them again, you can do that. With this bootstrapping from sources, you can have now more control what image contains. You will avoid such problems that were forced us to this postpone the first experience. It will be much easier to do big changes, big experiments with low-level tasks, because if you need to do something in Pharo, you need to do it from Pharo. And it means that Pharo, thanks to it, has a great reflectivity system, because it boosts reflectivity. On the other hand, you are somehow limited. And with bootstrap and snapshotting, Pharo can use the best from both worlds. One big advantage of bootstrapping is that it boosts, forces modularity. You are really forced to have modular system, to know how to load every part, how to initialize it, and so on. And because last time when Bootstrap was done, it was 40 years ago, we really didn't know how to do that, so it was needed to be recovered. And also we will be able to do very customizable images. Imagine that you will have, for example, a small image that you will deploy on an IoT device, or you will run it in a separate thread on an operating system and communicate with it, and this image will have only support for tasks you really need. That is a big promise for future things. How Bootstrap works, it uses a special virtual machine simulator. You need the VMmaker image for that with some tweaks and support for bootstrapping. It's not hard to download it and test it. It's quite easy. And this simulator firstly initializes some basic objects, and then runs code of the bootstrapping using AST simulator. So it uses the code that will be bootstrapped, which is a nice feature. And as soon as you have a bootstrap image right now, and I guess it will be so in the future too, we are bootstrapping as small images as we can, because it's a slow process and it takes time, and if you have an image that is already able to load next code, it's easier to load that code using compiler or Monticello. So right now we have bootstrap image with compiler, then load Monticello, which loads Metacello, and this Metacello using special baselines loads all the rest of Pharo. Pharo 6 will be released in a non-bootstrapped form. That means that it will be a standard image like Pharo 5, for example. But Pharo 7 will be from the beginning of its development bootstrapped. Next nice change is only a little one. It's a visual change. We switched the default theme to dark one because it looks neat. If you have already some projects that use Pharo 5, the adoption of it will be very easy, because Pharo 6 is in many points of view of the stabilization of Pharo 5 code base. So we did a very low amount of changes. One of them is syntax based, so we a little bit tweaked the syntax. Now we will be able to use double quotes inside comments, so it will be the same like for string literals, but a little different kind of quotes. And we also deprecated some not nice messages like object name, which is
You hate it so
because
much.
because it collided
10
with
years of waiting.
Oh wow.
because it collided with user
Very good.
models. And a lot of messages like if nil, if not nil do, you will not need to write do, because even if you will be using blocks with arguments. Also, IDE was improved. GT tools are now use fast table. That means that are much faster for displaying large collections or structures. We improved debugger, for example, go to here possibility and so on. If you now press the command adopt, you have much greater probability that you will stop what you want. Progress bar was very improved. Message browser now is able to filter results, which is great, and it also can contain quality assistant checks. And quality assistant itself was improved. It now contains a new model named Raku from Siri. It's much nicer to work on low level with it. If you will write in your code some examples, you now can mark them with pragma example or sample instance, and people will be able to run it with a small icon next to this method. And it's really great for newcomers to see that without touching keyboard at all. And also we did a lot of small Nautilus improvements, like switching of a large instance variables lists and so on. Next, great change is a little bit hidden. It's a possibility to open small separate morphic words in separate windows, which is a great step that is important for abandoning code that is working with display from VM, and in the end the support for display will only be part of image and bindings to external libraries. The virtual machine will be simpler and smaller. One issue for this is that in the release version of PharoDays it will not work, but we'll fix it in person. And also we have a lot of small fixes. One important is cleaning of working directory. So now Monticello cache, Git cache, playground cache, and so on is stored in Pharo local directory. Reflectivity and metalinks were improved. That are mostly small changes, but important. IPI to AST and so on. We also fixed a lot of not nice memory leaks, which is only a improvement that even garbage collected small programming language, you can have really ugly memory leaks and you need to check them. Now we have much better auto-categorization of methods. We added fuzzy matcher, which is tool for comparing of strings that are not equal. It's similar. UIDs are not now much nicer, thanks to Sven. He did a new UID generator. Also, if you want to create new anonymous classes, it's much simpler now. And we introduced inheritable process-specific variables, which is used to as unit. We have a class for recursion stopper, more documentation. Like always, it's important to have it, and it's great that people spend time on it. And we have also some small improvements in UI. For example, apps, and a lot of more. So I would like to thank you who collaborated somehow to Pharo. Thank you for your attention, and if you have some questions. Do not ask me when PharoDays will be released.
Let's hear.
So?
So no question?
Okay.